I wish that I could, separate myself into 5 different people at any given time. But you can't.
As 19-year-old Christina Aguilera set out on her first tour as a headliner, she was in for a shock.
Watch your back.
Coming through. Good luck.
Work it out, Christina.
Being the main show will be incredible for me. I'm so excited. We're taking my full band out, all my dancers. It's going to be pretty cool.
I don't know how she did it. Early morning phone interviews and then doing shows at night, like show after show and appearance after appearance and interviews and like grueling schedule.
She told me stories of, sitting in a hotel room and 13 interviews back to back. It's just the same questions. Who are you? How old are you? Where do you go to school? Those kinds of things. And so she was pretty burnt out.
She got sick, she got colds. They were fast and furious times.
We got a few phone calls from the road like, look, I'm really tired. I need a break and I'm not getting the break. As driven as Christina was, I think the management was pushing her even harder than she was physically capable of doing.
All right, you guys. Good night. Good night, everybody.
Do you feel a little bad with your throat? You had to cancel some shows?
I had to cancel some shows just because I'm a little overworked, a little overbooked.
I'm seeing her get thinner and thinner, and I'm concerned, like, why is she doing one gig over here and another one, clear on the other side of the coast with no rest between? It was scary.
You forget there's a human being there who needs a day off, who needs to eat a hot dog, who needs to just sit there and read the paper.
She tried to eat all the time. She did eat all the time, but just her metabolism was too fast, and with her schedule, it was an imbalance.
It was just a lot on my plate, and it just wasn't getting, managed properly, and I was getting exhausted, and it was really hard.
Still, the young star managed to squeeze in time to record songs for an album in Spanish.
Her schedule was just crazy. I mean, she would be here for 3 days and then leave. I wouldn't see her for another 2 months, and then she would show up for 5 days. I mean, she was exhausted from work.
Mi Reflejo was released in September 2000.
A Spanish record was #1 on the Spanish chart on Billboard, on the Latin album chart for 20 weeks. Sometimes half a year was #1. It was a big success.
Thank you.
At that year's Latin Grammy ceremony, Christina showed off her new boyfriend, George Santos.
For her, it was just natural to finally say, George, come with me to the Grammys. I don't think it was any grand decision. I think it was just sort of, it was just time. It was more like, George, you can get your suit, wear the black one.
Singing live in Spanish for the first time, Aguilera needed all the support she could get.
We were scared to death. I was with her behind the curtain before it opened up, and we were both shaking. She was worried about her accent and worried about not pronouncing the words in front of the whole Latin music industry. I said, Christina, just be yourself. You can do this.
Christina nailed the performance and took home the award for Best Female Pop Vocal.
It feels good to be recognized by the Latin community, and being half Latin myself, it feels good to be a part of this and a part of the culture.
Success was everywhere for Christina, but she needed something else, a break. In October 2000, Aguilera severed ties with her manager, Steve Kurtz.
I think it was very obvious when the time came that I'd had enough, and I was done with being sort of handled the wrong way, taken advantage of. I was just emotionally drained, and I'd had enough.
The singer also filed suit against Kurtz for fraud and breach of fiduciary duty. Kurtz countersued, alleging breach of contract and breach of good faith. Both parties later agreed to a confidential settlement, and the case was dismissed in April of 2001.
When you get to be a star to the point where you're kind of like your own corporation, you can't oversee everything. And so it's very difficult, and you learn a lot.
There are tricky people that are out to, I think take advantage sometimes. So it's really hard to find people who you can truly trust after that.
Until she hooked up with the best.
I was fortunate that Christina decided to ask me to be her manager. The first thing was really just get her business in order.
You don't get much bigger than, in fact, you don't get bigger than Irving Azoff.
When you want to renegotiate a deal, get out of a deal, go to a new deal, when you want to, make changes in your career and your life, Irving Azoff is the guy that can do that.
He just sort of weeded out the bad and kept the great and kept her moving forward.
I'm just very, very grateful that Irving Azoff took over because he's been around the block. He knows how to manage and how to do it in a way that's healthy for everybody and safe.
In December 2000, Aguilera won Female Artist of the Year at the Billboard Music Awards. It was the capper to an incredible 12 months. In her acceptance speech, she thanked her new manager.
It's tremendously gratifying when an artist recognizes you for the work you do, but mostly, those words really summed up what I had set out to do for her, and the fact that she really realized what we'd accomplished was, very gratifying.
I love being around real artists with crazy imagination and creative sensibility.
In January 2001, Christina Aguilera landed on Mr. Blackwell's annual Worst Dressed list.
She's like, who's this old man anyway? Why should he have any say, what a 19-year-old girl wears?
You must describe your outlook now. What inspiration?
Well, this was designed by Maya Hoffman, who made this dress for me. Kind of ripped it up, I guess, slashed it up, and I think it's fun.
She likes to push boundaries and wear things that sometimes people don't consider like classic and pretty. She doesn't care about that, and she doesn't want to please anyone but herself. She just likes to have fun and express herself.
She wants to be, liked, of course, we all do. But she also knows that she wants to challenge people. She obviously would rather do something that gets attention, something different.
She was trying to break out. There were so many blonde pop singers at the time. She just was like, I don't want to be another blonde pop singer. Let me just do anything I can to separate myself.
Later that year, Christina got a call from record executive Ron Fair. He was working on the soundtrack for the movie Moulin Rouge.
Baz Luhrmann had this idea to redo Lady Marmalade and have Missy Elliott sort of drive the bus creatively on the song.
My manager came to me and was like, hey, what you think about 4 girls doing this?
Me and my boss knew we wanted Christina, and so it became Christina, Pink, Maya, and Little Kim.
It was perfectly put together as far as, the talent was concerned and the different personalities and how unique everyone was in their own artistry. So it was really fun to get everybody aboard.
The press was certain the high-powered lineup would generate sparks.
You heard the rumors. They're all true.
The media always, tends to hype everything up, all the drama.
You got 4 talented divas on one track, and I think they put they all into it because they knew it was going to be competition, but in a good way competition, like, I'm going to sing the best I ever sung in my whole life.
Pink would come down and go like, let me hear what Christina's done. Oh, I better step up my game. And there was a healthy competition, and every single one of them, just took their game through the roof.
You get a lot of strong personalities in the same room. Who knows what's gonna, be the result of that? But luckily in our case, it was all positive, and it was really fun.
The record blew the roof off the world. It was a gigantic #1 hit in every country, and Christina sang the living out of the song.
She wanted to say, there is more to me than this teen pop singer. In fact, that's not even who I am.
You have this person who went on the road as a child and comes off the road having seen the world, and she's an adult at this point. She's totally in charge of who she is, who she wants to be, and where she's going.
The song kept on giving, winning that year's Grammy for Best Pop Collaboration.
And the Grammy will go to Lady Marmalade.
My girls right here, thank you guys so much. Every Grammy has been amazing for me to win, but that one, was especially a really fun project for me because, I'm not in a band, I'm not in a group, I'm pretty solo all the way, so it was really fun to do something as such a collaborative female group project.
The song's success gave Aguilera maximum exposure, but her high profile didn't help Christina's relationship with George Santos.
Having to work together, go home to someone, and be in the media, as a couple, and having people follow you around, I think it was very hard for George and Christina. I think it was very, very hard, and it definitely definitely took a toll on the relationship.
It's a little intimidating, I guess, for a guy to date a girl that's so in control and focused and's got her career going on and everything.
I can remember her at dinner and her eyes started to well up and I was like, it is okay to cry. And there was a lot of tears. The breakup, was very tough.
George was Christina's first love, and with first loves, they're really hard to get over. It's your first experience feeling that way about another person and feeling all those real feelings.
To see the first heartbreak, it was hard to watch. It really was.
I said, you really need to get in touch with your dark side and your depression. She looked at me like I was cuckoo.